There are 3 videos that are associated with Module 5. Module 5 is going to cover both Chapters 10 and 11. Chapter 10 is the water-soluble vitamins, and Chapter 11 is the fat-soluble vitamins. By the end of these 2 chapters, you should be able to describe how vitamins differ from the energy-yielding nutrients, the macronutrients, and how fat-soluble vitamins differ from water-soluble vitamins. Identify the main roles, deficiency symptoms, and food sources for each of the water-soluble vitamins, as well as the fat-soluble vitamins. So we're going to start with, and this video is only going to include an overview of the vitamins. So vitamins were first discovered in the early 20th century, and they were named vitamins because they originally thought that there was an amino acid associated with them and that they are vital to life. They are true. It is true that they are vital to life, but there is no amino acid associated with them. But the name stuck, so we have vitamins. And basically, we're going to talk about how they support your health. They're involved in many, many functions in the body, and they regulate many of the body processes. We're going to talk about the B and C vitamins first, and then the third video will be about the fat-soluble vitamins. So, an overview. They differ from the macronutrients, carbs, fats, and proteins by their structure. They are individual units. They have no bonds in them. They do not provide the body with energy. Even though I know when I was younger, my mom would, give me my Flintstone vitamin and say, here you go, it'll give you energy. It doesn't give you energy. The only 3 things that give you energy are carbs, fats, and proteins. However, as you've already seen, the B vitamins are extremely important in the energy-making process. So we find them in the Krebs cycle, we find them all throughout that energy metabolism. So they don't provide the body with energy, but we need them in order to make energy. And then, of course, the food contents. When we talk about carbs, fats, and proteins, we're talking about grams, right? We're talking about a large amount of them. For the vitamins, we need them in much smaller quantities, such as micrograms and milligrams. So this is why they're called the micronutrients. And this is the abbreviation for micrograms. It could be this Greek letter mu, or you could use mcg. So micrograms and milligrams, not grams. And just a quick review about the dietary reference intakes. We learned about these in Chapter 2, but it's best to review them because now we're going to see a lot more of them. The dietary reference intakes is the umbrella. That's what these all fall into. It's the amounts that are necessary to best support health. So if you remember, estimated average requirement is that middle ground. It will meet half of the population's needs. The RDA, which is what we really want for all the vitamins and the minerals, but we don't have, the recommended dietary allowance will meet almost all of the population. So 98% of the population will be met if they meet the RDA for specific vitamins and minerals. Adequate intake is what we use when we don't have all of the research necessary to establish the RDA. So it is like the step before RDA. So you will see that some of the vitamins and minerals do have an AI and not an RDA. And that means that's because we're still researching them and we're still not quite 100% certain this is what we all need. And then we're going to talk about the tolerable upper intake levels, and that's known as the UL. And that's the bar at which you don't want to pass. So it's the highest amount that appears safe for regular consumption. We'll talk about the UL a lot because many people pass the UL or surpass the UL when they are taking vitamin and mineral supplements. Typically, you don't surpass them if you're just eating food. This slide discusses nomenclature, and that's basically how things are named. So we have certain vitamins that are hydrophilic, meaning they love water, and that's the B vitamins and vitamin C. And then we have other vitamins that are hydrophobic, meaning they don't love water, they fear water. And those are our fat-soluble vitamins. Those are A, D, E, and K. And as these vitamins were discovered, each of them was given a name, and often, specifically the B vitamins, they were given a number. And the B vitamins are all kind of grouped together because they have a similar structure, and then they have numbers that come after them. Many vitamins have multiple names, and your textbook does a real good job of providing you with the standard and the common alternative names. Like I said, some of them have many names, but just knowing one or two of their alternative names is enough. So there's solubility. Remember, there's fat soluble and there's water soluble. So solubility affects their absorption, transport, storage, and excretion by the body. When we're talking about the water soluble vitamins, they can enter the bloodstream directly, which is very similar to your monosaccharides and your amino acids, right? They can enter the bloodstream directly, where the fat-soluble vitamins have to be kind of put with some sort of carrier to help them move through the blood. So the lymphatic system does that. So fat-soluble vitamins, just like the large-chain fatty acids we talked about, have to be moved into the lymphatic system before they can be dropped into the bloodstream. Solubility also affects their storage and their excretion. So excess water-soluble vitamins, right, they're water-soluble, they're going to be excreted by the kidneys. So if you eat too much of any of the B vitamins or vitamin C, you're really just going to excrete them. Because if you have enough, your kidney filters them out. We get rid of them. On the other hand, your fat-soluble vitamins, if you eat too many of them, our body stores them. So they can be more toxic than the water-soluble vitamins. So with the water-soluble vitamins, like I said here, you must eat them more frequently because we're constantly getting rid of any extra. And with the fat-soluble vitamins, because we store some of them, you can eat them less often. You can probably go 1 to 2 months before you become deficient in one of the fat-soluble vitamins. So their bioavailability is how available they are to the body. So the definition is the rate and extent to which a nutrient is absorbed and used by the body. And it's influenced by many factors. Here are just a few of them. How efficient your digestive tract is. So if your digestive tract moves very, very quickly, you may not absorb as many of the vitamins as you would if it slowed down. What you've eaten previous and how your nutrition status is also can affect how your body will absorb or not absorb specific vitamins. Food preparation, if you eat something raw versus cooked or something that's been processed by a manufacturer, raw foods tend to have more vitamins in them because once you do something to that food, it can destroy the vitamin. So cooking destroys vitamins. The processing destroys vitamins. So raw foods tend to have more vitamins available to you. Whether the source of the nutrient, whether it is synthetic, meaning man-made, or natural. So if it's natural, as in, you pluck an apple off the tree, it has all of the vitamins in it. Or you could have a processed apple pie. adds some extra vitamins in there in the enriched flour. So usually the ones that are added in there are synthetic. They're man-made vitamins. And then what other foods are eaten at the same time? If your diet is high in fiber, right, your digestive tract is going to probably be more efficient, and things are going to move through quicker, and you may not absorb as much. The other thing is that there are certain things, and we'll talk about it more in the mineral chapter, but that you can eat that will block the absorption of certain vitamins and minerals. Here's another term to know is precursors. And these are substances in foods that are converted to the active form of that vitamin. And the most well-known example is beta-carotene. Carrots do not have vitamin A in them. They have what's known as beta-carotene, which is the precursor to vitamin A. So when you eat carrots, you take in beta-carotene and your body converts it to vitamin A. Some other examples are alpha tocopherol is converted to vitamin E. 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted to vitamin D, and tryptophan can be converted to niacin. So there are certain vitamins that have precursors. I already mentioned that they're easily destroyed, and that's one of their differences compared to minerals. So they are organic in nature. And fresh foods, like I said, fresh foods naturally contain vitamins, and they can be readily destroyed during processing. And that processing could just be cutting them in half. You could destroy some vitamins when they're exposed to heat or light or air. So when you think about milk has a lot of riboflavin in it. And years ago, people used to get milk in glass bottles. And we no longer use glass containers for milk because the light destroys the riboflavin in the milk. So we now get milk in either cardboard containers or opaque plastic jugs. So we need to make sure that we're handling our foods, our fresh foods like fruits and vegetables, should be handled with care during storage and cooking so that you can retain most of the vitamins. So if you enjoy having, your vegetables very, very soft, most of the vitamins are probably destroyed because of the overcooking. And toxicity, when we talk about the UL, those upper limits that we shouldn't pass, it's because things are harmful after a certain point. But the effects depend on the dose. So most foods, when we're eating them, we're not going to get past those tolerable upper limits. So we're likely not to be harmed by food, but we tend to be harmed by people that are taking specific vitamins, like maybe you're taking a vitamin A pill and a vitamin D pill and B vitamins, and then you're getting too much. So I think people were under the impression when the community came out with the RDAs, people were under the impression this is what I need and I need this every day. And really it's over the course of a week or so, it's an average intake. So people started taking lots of vitamins and minerals when the RDAs first came out. And they can be harmful after a certain point. More is not better. This is a chart that comes directly from your book, Water-Soluble versus Fat-Soluble Vitamins, and it basically breaks up how they are different. So water-soluble vitamins are absorbed directly into the blood. Fat-soluble vitamins have to go through the lymphatic system. They can travel freely in the blood, the water-soluble ones, where your fat-soluble ones will require some sort of transport protein to move them around. Water-soluble vitamins are not stored where fat solubles are, and they're stored in the fat. Excretion, we have kidneys will detect high amounts and remove any excesses in the urine. And for fat soluble, they're not as easily excreted, and they tend to remain in fat storage sites until you need them. It is possible to reach toxic levels with both of them. However, it's much harder to reach it with water-soluble vitamins because your body is going to detect that you're over and get rid of them. But it is possible, and like I said, it's mostly when people consume extra supplements. And for your requirements, we need to eat the water-soluble vitamins B and C more frequently, perhaps every 1 to 3 days, where we could probably go weeks or even months without eating A, D, E, and K because it's stored in our fat cells. So that was some general overview of the vitamins. The next video is going to talk about specifically about the B vitamins and vitamin C.